Good
Hello.
evening.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Miss O'Connell. I'm the principal of Hope High School, if you don't know me already.
I'm Mr. Buehner-Kemper. I'm assistant principal here at Hope High School. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Mr. Portillo. I'm the Dean of Students at Hope High School. How y'all doing?
Thanks for tuning in tonight. We are here for our second virtual town hall and data decision day of term 2. And it's the last one of term 2 because tomorrow is the end. So thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching this as a recording and you do have questions throughout, we encourage you to go ahead and give us a call with any of your questions. The number is a little disjointed, but our number is 623-772-8013. Or you can contact your advisor or any of your teachers. Strongly encourage you to get in touch with us. We are here to answer your questions and help you figure out what's going on. But hopefully this video helps and answers questions. So without further ado, Ms. O'Connell will get us started.
And I do just want to say, if you are not watching the video recorded version, but if you are watching us live, please chat with us. Chat with us now and we will answer your questions live. That always makes us feel really great. But this is our agenda for today. If you tuned in last week, it is pretty much the same, but you will see some new and improved COVID numbers. But today we're going to be talking about preparing for term 3, looking at those pandemic benchmarks, some real important term 3 updates, and how you can be scheduled for the on-site learning lab or your student. We're going to look at our data-driven decisions. We're going to give you important information that will help you help your student, but also you can help us help your student. And we are going to be telling you how we are going to be wrapping up term 2 tomorrow and answer any questions that you may have. And without further ado,
I'll take over. So first we'll start off with reviewing our school area pandemic benchmarks. So this is, again, we've looked at zip codes where we have a high concentration of students from Hope High School living. And unfortunately, it looks not so great this week. The numbers we are looking for are 2 weeks of yellow or green boxes, right? And so unfortunately, we jumped from yellow over orange all the way to red in most of the zip codes and in most of the data points. So that is not good news. However, thankfully, we are prepared for this. We sort of anticipated it, and we will, as Mrs. O'Connell will describe in a moment, we will not be returning in person in term 3. And so we'll get into that, but this is the gist of the data. Doesn't look great, but we are prepared for it to keep our staff and more importantly, our students safe and their families. And so we thank you for your patience in this, I don't want to say the word, but in this crazy time.
Grim. This is pretty grim data.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, here are the term 3 updates. If you are still waiting to know, this is what term 3 is going to look like. Oh, thank you. So first of all, for the most part, we are continuing remote learning. We still will have online courses offered in Edgenuity and Alex. We are still going to have offline work packets offered as well that you can pick up and drop off. And we are still asking that you please submit your attendance through time logs. And you will see that our offline work packet students are doing a pretty good job of that. But some of our online students are not submitting their attendance as they should. And that is unfortunately leading to some unexpected and unnecessary withdrawals from our school by state law. So that's really important, if I cannot stress it enough. Also, virtual office hours and enrichment will continue, but they're going to be a little bit more fun. We try to get better every single term. We learn from the last term and we learn from our parents and our students. And so this time, your students will have an opportunity to Zoom with all of their teachers every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We will have our teachers in 2 groups, an AM group, PM group, from 9 to 10 a.m. and 1 to 2 p.m. And that way they're more likely to hang out with their friends, get help, and earn extra credit. And we also, parents, just so you know, a large part of the Zoom that we do with students is for social emotional learning, because that's really, really important right now. This time is especially hard for adolescents who are right in that age group where they just feel not empowered enough, and this just makes them feel more so. And so we want to definitely provide them with those resources. And finally, we are going to have an enhanced on-site learning lab. I'm not going to go into details about this because Mr. Portillo is going to cover that in just a minute.
All right. Well, good news. We have an on-site learning lab, and we have a very different schedule. But we're here to help our kids, and your children are our priority. And we know that some kids are struggling, so we have in our enhanced learning lab, we have 2 on-campus learning lab options. Same option as before. 2 hours time slots, but they're scheduled as needed. And as you can see there, there's a button on our student portal. It's called Learning Lab. So you can click on that, go to hopehighschool.org, student portal, and you'll be able to schedule a session there. Or you can also call the advisors, 623-772-8013. And the second option are per teacher recommendations. Some students will be scheduled for a regular daily 4-hour either AM or PM shift, and that'll be done as needed. And so we want this to be available for all students so they can have a quiet place, like a computer lab. We call it the learning lab. It's a quiet place, just away from all distractions, with their laptop and just working on their courses so they can move forward and get those classes done.
And I just wanted to mention that space in the Learning Lab is based on availability. And so if you really do have a need to be in the Learning Lab, please let your advisor know as early as possible, so that we can make sure. If you need a daily shift, let us know. Otherwise, it will be per teacher recommendation. And if you would just like to pick up a 2-hour time slot, please do that. We have availability right now.
Awesome.
All right. So next up, we've got some information on course completions.
Thank you. And so for course completion data, first of all, I want to just kind of introduce what we're doing. This year, we've decided that we want to provide even more information to parents in hopes that, or families, in hopes that you guys can help us to help your students. And so we really dug deep to think, well, what is the most important information for us, and that we think that you would be interested in knowing that would be helpful for you. And so the first thing that we have here is the completion data for our Term 1 courses. And this is, when we looked at this as of last week, these were the courses completed as of October 22nd. And of course, tomorrow is the last day to turn in any Term 1 courses or any coursework. So what we show here is for online students, 134 courses were completed out of 403 courses. That's a 33% course completion rate. So that's not as high as we'd certainly like to see, because that really impacts how quickly a student is able to graduate. If you're only working at a 33% course completion rate, that's not fast enough to graduate on time. Our offline students kind of at a similar pace, 30 out of 103 courses completed. We have fewer offline students at a 29% course completion rate. So in average, our courses are being completed at 32%. This is the biggest thing impacting students right now. Our teachers are working so hard to improve curricula and develop more exciting curricula, but right now the curricula that we have is the most state-of-the-art curricula that's out there. Alex is our math curriculum. It's designed to be different for every single student based on their prior knowledge, and that's pretty innovative. And our Edgenuity curriculum is used all around the country, and in many schools in Arizona as well. So if there's any way that we can help you, please let us know. But the big thing is spend time on these courses, and we promise you will be able to succeed. Our teachers give so many options to retake a test if needed, or retake a quiz if needed, and to help you if needed to complete these courses. That is real essential.
That's right.
Here's some attendance data as well. As you can see, our online students have about a 65% attendance rate, and our offline students have an 89% attendance rate. What that shows is that our offline students are logging their time a little bit better on their core in terms of their attendance time. And so online students, not only do we use your time logs, but we also use any time that you logged on those online classes to count as attendance, or any time that you are meeting with your teachers in a virtual class, that is counted as time. And so what that shows us is that you really do need to spend more time in your classes, and please do a little better job of getting those time logs submitted every week.
Something really important about those time logs is, as Mrs. O'Connell said, the attendance comes from that. And she referenced the legal ramifications of that. As a school, we are bound by a particular statute that says if a student has 10 consecutive absences from school, and even during this pandemic, it applies, we have to withdraw them from school. That does not mean you can't return to Hope High School by any means. In fact, most of the time, it's a quick re-enroll, but it is the process. You have to complete the re-enrollment packet again. We have to have all of that stuff on file, and it's a pain. It takes time. It takes you a trip to the school. So avoid that at all possible. Get your time logs put in so that we can count you as present. Even if you're just working, 15 minutes a day on your courses, you should be working more, but at least 15, you should have 4 hours a day. But even 15 minutes counts you as present. So present is better than absent. And we don't want to mark you absent because too many days in a row equals withdrawal. And we have had ways to make that happen this year from students who would be normally in school. And we know it's difficult.
Yeah.
Please, we want you to be successful, but we are bound by the law in this matter. Now, it's interesting when the attendance data touches with course completions. And of course, we share this with you parents and students as well if you're tuning in. Because this is pretty telling. So if you take a look here, this is a quick little table that shows the student's grade level and how many courses they have completed so far. This is up through last Thursday. And so you'll notice that students who have completed fewer classes or none, like 0 or 1 class, have not as good attendance as students who have completed more, 2 or 3. Especially in our younger grades who tend to have better attendance in general, which is great. Keep it up. It's a great way to start high school. But also in our senior level grades, you can really see it, a drastic difference. You go from 67% attendance rate, completing no classes average, to an 86% attendance rate for students who have completed 3 classes so far. So they're working hard, they're getting stuff done, they have better attendance, that's fantastic. But you can really see that, your attendance is better, you have better course completions. You will see a couple of those students there, and I'll move on to the next graph, which just makes it a little easier. Just to explain this one, each dot represents a student, and you'll see how far along on the graph they are. That shows how many classes they have completed thus far this year. And the higher they are on that graph, the better their average or their attendance is. So you'll see there's only 4 dots in the far right-hand side. Those are graduates. They have already graduated Hope High School this year. They were catching up from last year, or they just had a couple classes, whatever. Outliers. But everything else, you can really see that data is showing that most of our students who have good attendance, that is really an indicator. So, moral of the story: spend the time, take the time it takes, and it takes less time to graduate high school. So,
Yeah.
That's right.
You have to show up to the party. You have to put your time in. You have to put in the work. And if you put in the work, you will succeed.
Yeah,
and
right.
if you don't,
Get up and try again.
Yeah, exactly. Now, parents, if you're interested to see where your student lies on this graph, of course, we won't share any private information, but We will certainly have conversations with you and share where your student is, how many credits they've earned this year, and what their attendance rate is, and all. I'd be happy to share that information with you. Miss Zoe is fantastic with pulling that information for you. The advisors as well. Miss Irene can get you the information. So just give us a call, and we'd be happy to help you out with that.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's important to complete your classes and not only just complete, but submit those classes. So you ask, how do I submit those classes? Well, first thing you got to do after finishing, contact your teacher. Call the school, ask for your teacher. If you don't know who your teacher is, go to the student portal. There's a little button called Bling. Shows you what courses you have and the names of your teacher. It gives you the emails and the extension numbers you can reach them at. Remember, only a teacher can submit a completed course. So it's very important that you contact your teacher and let them know that you're finished with that course. Just a reminder, Term 1 courses, which started in August, will be closed at the end of Term 2, which is, guess what? Tomorrow, 10:30. So you gotta make your effort, finish that cumulative exam, turn in that class, call your teacher, contact them, let them know. And just remember, any unfinished Term 1 courses will unfortunately get an F grade. But when a student retakes or finishes the course in the future, a new grade may replace that F grade, only if earned at Hope High School, obviously. So please reach out to your teachers now for any help getting your classes done. If you're stuck in your Edgenuity course or your adults course and something's not open for whatever reason, call the school and we'll direct you to the teacher. For Term 3, if all Term 2 courses are complete, your student will get 2 new classes, either online or offline courses on paper. But if the T2 courses remain incomplete, the student will get a what we call a study skills course, which is extra supportive finish from the teacher, but it's also a credited class. So that's a good thing. And on top of that, you get your 1 new core class, either online or on paper. And all T2 courses must be complete by the end of Term 3, which is at the end of the semester before we go on winter break. So time's a ticking.
Time's a ticking. Yeah. A quick note on the on those. Oh, I forgot my note. I'll bring it up later if I remember. It completely slipped my mind. That's okay. Moving on.
Long day in the life of an assistant principal, sir.
Long day. So I'll share a little bit about time log. Parents, if you don't know how time logs work, we'd be happy to share that with you. We use a program or an app called Bling. It goes along with our diamond theme. And basically, students can go to our website, hopehighschool.org, and click on students, which will take them to the student portal. And then you'll see this fancy button, this blue button that's got some diamonds on it. It says Bling. It's what Mr. Portillo referred to earlier. It'll take you to a login page where you can log in with your birth date and last name. So if you can't remember your login information for anything else, I hope you remember these things. Once you log in, you'll be able to click on My Time Logs, and it'll bring up this section that's got some buttons, right? So one of the buttons says Time Logs for this week. The next button says Time Logs for last week, in case you didn't do it yet. And the last one is just time logs in general, and you can put your own dates and times in. Some students like to put their time logs in every day, which is a great practice. Some students don't like to do it that way, and that's totally fine. So what we've done is we've pre-filled dates for you. And if you click on those pre-filled dates buttons, the blue ones, you will have Monday through Friday, 8 to noon, automatically populated. Okay, so if you think, or you probably work Monday through Friday around 8 to noon every day, just click on that link. Parent, you can type your name in the signature box and hit submit. So you're just verifying that those are the hours, and if that's about right, then go ahead and submit it. If it's not, you can make a small modification, but go ahead and submit your time logs weekly. It should be very easy. We pre-filled it for you. And if you have any questions, just let us know. We'd be happy to help you with that. That's our job. We're here for you. So.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, before I see if you have any questions, I want to let you know that one of the things we do is we want to ask you questions because we want to serve your students in the best way possible. And so this time we are going to send out a question right after we get off of this live stream, and it's going to be a phone call question. And if you'll just listen to the question really quick, it'll be repeated twice, and then it'll let you make an option. And there's just two choices. It's going to be a yes or a no, and it'll be really, really simple. And if you could just do that for us, we would really appreciate it, because your feedback matters in the service that we provide to your kids. Now, do you have any questions for me, or for Mr. B, or for Mr. Portillo?
I don't think we have any questions in the comments. We've been watching them, but that may be it for the evening. Thank you for tuning in, those of you who have. And if you do have questions, you can put them in the comments now, and we'd be happy to answer them before we sign off. But otherwise, you're welcome to give us a phone call. It's easy to contact us, 623-772-8013. We are there from 8 to 4, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later. But at least from then, and we are happy to answer your questions. We know it's a strange time, but we want to help clear things up if we can.
And will you all do me a favor? Watch your kids this Halloween, especially those teenagers.
Please.
We love them, but they are our kids too. And so teens out there, young adults, watch yourselves. Be safe this Halloween.
That's right.
Yeah, stay safe.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Ta-ta.
Thank you, Dan, for tuning in.